This year marked my 5th visit to EGX, the UK's largest games event that draws crowds of up to 80,000 people every September. Taking place over 4 days, the event provides fans the opportunity to play a bunch of upcoming games a few months before they hit shop shelves. I travelled down to Birmingham with Yolly, who you may already know from the channel, and my sister Sarah, our group attendance, now a bit of a tradition, with all 3 of us enjoying the experience of booking a terrible inner city hotel and devising an action plan for what queues to jump into first thing in the morning, almost as much as the games themselves. I'm not kidding about the terrible hotel part. Look at this haunted picture that was bolted to the wall in our room. Sinister. I originally attended the show back in 2012 as a member of the, press? Hard to imagine now that I ever had enough weight and reach to achieve that lofty term, isn't it? There was just a time when they were handing out press tickets like they were going out of fashion. Like, seriously, God knows how I got one, but I did for like 2 years, so yeah. But I must admit, I think I enjoy attending as a paying member of the public far more than I ever did back when entry was gifted to me for free. Dawn is the monumental pressure to run from booth to booth in a desperate attempt to cover as much ground as possible, replaced instead by the ability to wander through the show like fascinated outsiders, sorting in the multi-sensory noise that comes as standard with an event as large as EGX. If you've never been before, EGX is effectively a downscaled E3 or Gamescom, a consumer show designed to whet the appetites of the general public for new titles usually launching within the next 3 to 6 months. The result is an enormous exhibition hall jam-packed with colourful branded booths promoting games, developers, publishers and hardware manufacturers, each one vying for the attention of a wide-eyed consumer. Stages where online influencers and representatives shout over curious onlookers with the promise of free prizes. Indie developers nervously watching their games being played for the first time by someone other than themselves, and of course, queues. Queues as far as the eye can see. Queues that can last upwards of 2 hours. That's 2 hours of waiting just to play a 10 to 20 minute long vertical slice of a game you're probably gonna end up playing anyway. Queues for VR games, queues for indie games, queues for like T-Rins or stickers, queues for the toilets, queues to even get into the venue in the first place. Queues. So much queuing. It's mainly queuing. It's the worst bit of the show, but it's also part of it. Part of the charm. In recent years, the queues are the only time I find the opportunity to play my 3DS, so, you know, like I say, it's part of the charm, I guess. Silver lining. However, most indie games don't require any kind of wait time, making them, as they are every year, the most interesting and entertaining aspect of EGX. Yeah, you can play 10 minutes of the new Assassin's Creed, or 1 multiplayer match of Call of Duty Black Ops 4, but you can also spend 20 minutes playing an interesting little game you've never even heard of before, and the best bit is that when you're done, there's a high chance that a developer who's working on the project is also running the booth. These surprise discoveries and genuine conversations with their creators are always the highlight of my weekend. My blurry footage can't really do justice to the noise, the energy, the genuine sense of community and the excitement, all of which are associated with the event. It's so strange, yet so lovely. It smells like a mix between sweat, fresh plastic and Monster Energy, because yes, like every year, there are free energy drinks to be had, which as a pro gamer myself, you know, I was happy to grab a can of, God knows what this was, caffeinated Mando? It was terrible. Why are there so many sons of our rainbows? Anyway, we played a load of great stuff during our time at this year's EGX, so I'm here to give you the rundown on the best things we managed to get our hands on. This list covers an eclectic range of titles from big budget AAA behemoths all the way down to tiny little passion projects made by one person. The list is in no particular order, we just liked everything I'm about to talk about. We think you should keep an eye on all of them because they're good. They're real good. I can't do intros, I still can't, let's just get going with this. I used to adore Advance Wars when I was a kid. Intelligent Systems' turn-based strategy series was arguably the perfect game for Nintendo's handhelds, and I lost countless hours over the years passing, at first, my Game Boy Advance and eventually my DS between friends throughout long car journeys together, waging tactical battles that would often last the entire weekend. It's such a shame that we haven't seen a new installment in 10 years, I don't count these ones, with Intelligent Systems favouring their Fire Emblem franchise instead, which is basically just Advance Wars for weebs. Change my mind. I still love it though. Fire Emblem's great. Luckily, Chucklefish are developing Wargroove, a fantasy-based strategy game that takes more than a few influences from Advance Wars. I got a chance to have a Twit versus battle against Sarah, and let me tell you, it's everything I hoped for and more. It looks phenomenal, its unit variety is great, its cast of commanders are unique and interesting, and a fresh new mechanic where if your commander, your most powerful unit on the battlefield, dies, you instantly lose, adds an additional layer of depth to an already complex formula. I can't wait to get my hands on the final game. Oh actually, you know what? Fuck everything I've just said because you could play as anyone in the demo version apart from the Dodd Commander, so fuck you, Chuttlefish, your game is shit and I won't be buying it. Nah, I'm kidding, it's really good. VR is still a bit of a commodity at EGX. Back in 2013, when consumer VR was still limited to developers and those with more money than sense, queues to spend 5 minutes immersed in a virtual world were upwards of 3 to 4 hours long, and to be honest, not a huge amount has changed. 5 years later, VR still has a huge presence at EGX, and with headsets still on the pricier side of things, attendees remain more than willing to queue for up to 2 hours just to have a chance to spend 10 minutes with a HTC Vive, an Oculus Rift, or, as is becoming more common at the show, a PlayStation VR. There's a helicopter flying above my house. I don't know why, but it's almost like no one wants me to make this video today. Shut up! In fact, PlayStation's dedicated VR booth remains so popular that you were required to book a session in advance, despite the fact that the majority of the games they were showing off were, with the exception of Tetris Effect and Astrobot Rescue, I think that game's called, at this point nearly 2 years old. Thus is the draw of what remains an expensive addition to an already pricey pastime. We didn't really get the chance to play much VR this year, but what we did play was a wonderful little gem by Dream Reality Interactive called Arca's Path VR. Published by Rebellion and tucked away in one of the more remote corners of the show floor, Arca's Path is a charming little VR game about a young girl who, after discovering a mysterious virtual reality helmet of her own, embarks on a fairy tale-esque journey through an ever-changing digital landscape. The game is completely controller-free, with movement of the game's protagonist represented as a small ball, controlled via head tracking alone, the ball rolling automatically towards the centre of your gaze. It makes for a remarkably calm experience as you tilt and move your head in order to gently manoeuvre the ball around the vaporwave-inspired environments that look delightfully twee in virtual reality. It's an interesting little game with a lot of heart that, despite initial appearances, is one of the more memorable VR games I've played at EGX over the last few years. A real charmer. I played half an hour of Hitman 2's Miami level. In that time I dressed up as a flamingo and blackmailed a race car driver before pushing her down a hole, killing her. So yeah, more of the same, it's looking good. Sarah and I queued for nearly 2 hours in order to play 10 minutes of Spyro the Reignited Trilogy, and I know what you're thinking, that seems ridiculous, and yeah, you're probably right, it took up most of our day, but hey, we did it anyway. Thankfully, it's looking really nice. I managed to play the Sunny Villa level from Spyro 3 and Idle Sprints from Spyro 2, and I just had this stupid grin on my face for the entire time. At one point I was gliding onto a platform and I just instinctively tapped triangle in order to do that little flutter move to gain a last minute bit of height, and I did this weird little laugh when I did it. I guess I was surprised? Muscle memory? Wild. These games mean a lot to me, so it's with relief that I can say that Toys for Bob have done a really good job so far. I can't wait to play more. Smash is good. None of the new characters were available in the demo Nintendo brought with them. Maybe they were, I don't know, I was tired and I'm an idiot, but it's phenomenal fun. Haven't really got much else to say about it, to be honest. It's Smash, innit? It's always good. I even like the 3DS one. I don't think that's necessarily a controversial opinion to have though, is it? Fuck it. I liked it. Fight me, or don't. Who cares? I'm pretty tired now as well, actually. Yoli is a huge Kingdom Hearts fan, so after waiting nearly 14 years for a true sequel to Kingdom Hearts 2, it's fair to say she was quite excited to play the demo for the third one. We ran onto the show floor like nerds on our first day there and managed to jump into a queue for the game at the PlayStation booth, which was considerably shorter than the line at the actual Kingdom Hearts section by about an hour and a half. All three of us played a segment from the Toy Story world, and we were really impressed by what we saw. Yoli was initially in shock, I think. I mean, it's a big deal for her, but after playing it again later in the day, she came away eager to see more when the game launches in January. The biggest takeaway for me was how silky smooth the gameplay is on the PS4 Pro. Combat is madness. Compared to the original game, the only one of the series I've played up to this point, fighting is energetic and very diverse. One second you're swinging around a rocket on the end of your T, the next you're spinning around on teacups, and then before you know it, you're swinging around on a pirate ship. Lots of swinging. It looks stunning, it feels great to play, and I skipped all of the cutscenes because fuck that noise. Shout out to the lad we queued with on the first day who had postponed his first day at university in order to travel to Birmingham just to play this one demo. Lovely guy. It never ceases to amaze me how much people love this dumb franchise, but it makes me happy on their behalf that Kingdom Hearts 3 appears to be the sequel they've been waiting a long time to play. Yoli, if you're watching this, the PS4 is my Resident Evil 2 machine come January. Buy another one if you want to play your dumb Winnie the Pooh meets Cloud Strife dip. Anyway, enough about all that nonsense, let's talk a little bit about trends. EGX is always a nice physical barometer for what's hot or not in the games industry. When I first went in 2012, this meant that practically every other booth was a demonstration of a game's unnecessary multiplayer mode. Tomb Raider, I'm looking at you. In 2013, VR was all anyone could talk about, and last year everyone's focus was on the Switch. The only thing that's ever felt like the permanent fixture over the years, apart from energy drinks and shit t-shirts, is Minecraft. No matter what year I've attended the show, Minecraft has always been present in some form or another. At one point, queues to play Minecraft with a Londis there, which is madness, quite frankly. This year was the first year where Minecraft felt like it had lost a little bit of its edge. It still had a huge amount of space dedicated to it, but it's very much been taken over by, yep, you guessed it, Starlink Battle for Atlas. Everyone's talking about it, the kids love it. It's Fots McCloud, holy fucking shit! No, I'm talking about Fortnite. Obviously. Every major publisher dedicated a section of their booth to the most popular game in the world, and boy, I'll tell you what, people were certainly queuing up to play it. A free game. What a time to be alive. PlayStation had it, Nintendo had it, every single booth dedicated to PC hardware had it, it even had its own dedicated section independent from everywhere else. Fortnite's really here to stay, there's no doubt about that. People love it, I love it. I don't know why I'm acting like I don't. Look how much I love it. Someday we'll find it, the rainbow, connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. Nah, but seriously, you know, give people what they want. Good on them. Just, it is strange, isn't it? It's a free game. Why would you queue for like an hour? It's a free game. Every year, EGX dedicates a small portion of the show floor to independent games that break the mold. Innovative, interesting, entertaining little gems that deserve to have their creativity highlighted at a public event. Often, their developers stand close by too, ready to jump over and ask for feedback after watching someone play it. It's a great atmosphere, it's one of the best bits of the show. Here are some real left field stuff we played whilst we were there. I think the area of the show was called left field, by the way. I'm not that clever a word user person, shut up. Between Stations is a game about tuning a creepy hotel TV in order to uncover surreal programs in between the static. It's incredibly well written and available to play for free online right now. I'll post a link to everything I talked about in the description. At EGX, the game was playable on an old-fashioned CRT TV, hooked up to a control panel that featured a few satisfyingly clunky buttons you could jab at in order to make choices, as well as an old-fashioned tuning dial you could twist in order to seek out eerie broadcasts. It was all very tactile and added an additional level of immersion to an already wonderful little game. Switch and Shoot is a beautifully designed shmup controlled entirely via one button. Your ship moves on its own across the bottom of the screen, with the press of your singular input both swapping its direction and firing a shot, hence the name. It's a genius little concept where tensions remain high throughout the entire game, as attempting to both shoot and manoeuvre at the same time is trickier than it initially appears. Developer Matt Glanville had packaged up a version of the game in a dinky little arcade cabinet with a haunting big button on the front, which only enhanced the whole experience. It's a wonderful little game, and it's only about £2 on Steam if you're interested. Stitty Tats is a local multiplayer party game where each player controls a crudely drawn tat. Players must attempt to grab a fish from each level before carrying it to a window, fighting off other tats in the process. The twist is that your tat is stithy as foot and clings to everything and anything it touches. The result is a frenetic, chaotic couch party game that had the three of us howling with laughter as our gross-looking avatars flipped ridiculously around the rooms, causing havoc in the process. It's a little sparse on levels at the moment, but the whole concept is so immediately entertaining that I'm already eager to play more. Easily the most inventive game we played at the show, the Butt Ritual describes itself as an interactive art piece about dealing with loss and accepting change. The game itself was attached to a shredder which sat next to a pile of old paperback butts. As a player interacts with an anthropomorphic butt on screen, they're encouraged to deface, doodle and share personal experiences onto the pages of the real world butt in front of them, before tearing out a page and passing it through the shredder. As the page is destroyed, scenes in the game advance. Thoroughly engaging in its design and endlessly fascinating in what it says about the value we attach to physical objects, the Butt Ritual is an evocative masterpiece. You can play it at home with a USB shredder for free if you're so inclined to do so. Just bear in mind you don't have to destroy a beloved novel in the process. Twith shout out to Hypnospace Outlaw, the upcoming 90s internet simulator from Dropsy creator Jay Tholen. I did a video about how much I loved the beta back in July, and I was lucky enough to have a Twitch chat with Jay as he showed off his latest build of the game. It's still one of the most interesting and unique games I've ever played, and reactions from those playing it at the show seemed equally positive. One to keep an eye on, it's shaping up to be a gem. Go watch my video. Is that desperate? Sounds a bit desperate really, doesn't it? You don't have to. I mean, keep watching this one, at least. Oh god, I can't self-promote. It's too hard. Anyway, back to other stuff that we had to queue for ages to play. Nintendo brought along one demo booth for Untitled Goose game, a game where you play as a horrible goose hell-bent on causing havoc within a quaint English village. We waited an hour and a half to play a 10-minute demo between the three of us, as the queue was so large the Nintendo rep couldn't allow us to play the demo in its entirety individually, and do you know what? Do you know what? It was fucking worth it. What a charming, funny and well designed little game this is. The demo itself gave us a checklist of ways we could be a nuisance towards a groundskeeper as he attended to his allotment. We had to steal his hat, his teas, drag his wraith into a lathe, let him soaking wet. You just had to be a horrible little bastard to this fella in order to win. It was a riot. chaos. We loved every second of it and couldn't stop laughing throughout the brief 10 minutes we were allowed to play it for. If the entire game can carry this same momentum throughout its running time, this could easily be one of the best games to release next year. It looked and ran great on Switch too. What a wonderful little game. I had zero expectations about Super Mario Party for the Switch, but it's actually pretty good. We were able to play the game on a slightly elevated platform at the Nintendo booth on two big comfy couches, an enthusiastic rep pumping us up for a 5-round game of Mario-thon, essentially 5 mini-games played bat-to-bat with points allocated to each player based on their performance. We all had an absolute blast with it. One mini-game saw us moving a pan around in order to evenly see at all sides of a tube of beef, another had us running through tall grass, and one particular highlight saw us twisting the Joy-Cons in order to slowly ride a tricycle over a finish line. Each minigame felt really polished and looked as clean and as colourful as a mainline Mario title, a huge improvement over Mario Party 8, which Yoli still makes me play to this day, and is a real fucking shiter of a game. The inputs felt a little bit off, but it didn't really matter. We all had a great time with it, and we walked away excitedly agreeing to buy the game in December so we could all play it together on Christmas Eve. There's just no other company quite like Nintendo, huh? I love Media Molecule, the English developer behind Sony exclusive classic Little Big Planet and my personal favourite Tearaway. Did you play Tearaway? It was hands down the best Vita game and it's still one of the best games I've ever played. I really liked Tearaway. It'll probably come as no surprise then that I've been following the development of Dreams, their upcoming toolkit for designing, developing and playing games on the PS4 with a curious sort of fascination. The project, which was originally revealed all the way back in 2013, is an ambitious undertaking that seems to take Little Big Planet's slogan of play, create, share to its logical extreme. It's a hard thing to explain, but it effectively boils down to a full game creation suite designed for players of every skill level. If you can dream it, the theory goes, you can make it. All of it, from the characters to the levels to their animations to the music and even the sound effects. All of it, from scratch. It looks impossibly brilliant. The demo Sony had available to the public at EGX was a collection of short games created by Media Molecule over the space of one weekend. The games spanned a variety of genres. One was a top-down shooter, another was a text adventure, one was a fully fledged action platformer, and one astoundingly creative game started off as a 2D platformer resembling a child's crayon-based doodles before fully opening up into a realistic-looking 3D experience. The breadth and scale of imagination on display within this brief glimpse alone has me believing that the full release of Dreams has the potential to be one of the most creatively affluent games ever made. I can't wait to see what kinds of mad shit players will dream up when the game eventually comes out. Watch this space for a game all about my badass. It's so bad it deserves its own story. Don't let me buy Dreams. Twit Daft One, Honey I Joined a Cult is a strategy management game that bears resemblance in both gameplay and design to Prison Architect, except instead of running a mass security penitentiary, you're in charge of supervising a cultist commune in the 1970s. You pick the name of your cult, design your acolytes, clothing, and even choose a deity and corresponding idol for your followers to worship. The small chunk I managed to play was very enjoyable, and I'm looking forward to seeing more. Promising. Self-described as a groundbreaking blend of hard-boiled top show and isometric RPG that takes place within a unique urban fantasy setting, Elysium has been on my radar for a while now. I finally got my hands on an early build at EGX, and quite frankly, I haven't stopped thinking about it since. Visually stunning, and written with a level of decadence not often associated with video games, Elysium is a deep and complex RPG about a drug-addicted washed-out cop and his new partner as they attempt to solve crimes within the fictional city of Revachol West. Like most old-school isometric RPGs, Elysium features a fully fleshed out still system, however each area of your character sheet relates to the protagonist's innermost feelings, doubts and memories that play an integral part in every conversation. Depending on what kind of character build you tailor throughout your playthrough will open up new avenues of dialogue based on existential thoughts and feelings, a tiny voice in your head that spits out negativity that can then be used to advance conversations in weird and wonderful ways. It's a really clever concept that feels great to play around with. Overall, the premise is astoundingly well realised, the whole game looks like an oil painting in motion, and it's just really good. Elysium was easily my game of the show. I just want to give it a big wet kiss. I love it, I love it, I love it. Give it to me in a ribbon, my mouth's the right shape for it. Rah. Before I wrap this long video up, it's so long, it's taken me so long to do. Here's a few games I didn't play myself, but I watched other people have a bash on them, and they looked real good. The Murder Mystery Machine is a procedurally generated detective game that looks about as unique as you'd expect it to. Small Talk invites you to mingle with an eclectic mix of eccentric characters at a cocktail party celebrating the end of the world. Each character has a unique story to tell, the memories of which can be explored further via the game's mesmerising, pastel-heavy art style. Visually, it's unlike anything I've ever seen, and from the brief glimpses I had of the game in motion, the writing looks to be as beautifully realised as its visual design. Small Talk, out soon, hopefully. Eastward is a dual-character adventure RPG by Pitts Pill Games inspired by Japanese animation from the 90s. Taking place in a teen world teetering on the brink of collapse, Eastward's stunning pixel art presentation crossed with modern 3D lighting and smooth animations illustrations had me enamoured as soon as I saw it. A beautiful looking game with a whole lot of heart. Keep your peepers locked on this one. EGX always has a substantial retro section at every show, offering attendees the chance to play a variety of old games on their original systems. Even better is the booth selection of classic arcade cabinets, free to play to your heart's content. This year they had this weird Street Fighter Whack-A-Mole game that just smelt awful. It smelt fucking awful, but it was a fun little oddity that I've never even seen before. Two fighters appeared on the screen and both players had to whack little bisons twither than the other in order to inflict damage. It barely worked, it was horribly run down. I really can't tell you just how bad it smelled, but it was a wonderful little thing to spend some time with. Well, there we have it, the best things we had the opportunity to play at this year's EGX. If you're a fan of video games and found this video interesting, why not check out the show for yourself next September? The event takes place at Birmingham's NEC venue and costs around £40 for a day ticket. Who knows, maybe I'll see you there. Thank you so much for watching this video. It's taken me ages to make, which is probably quite surprising because of its quality, but you know, I'm a busy man, I've got things to do, not many things. Fortnite dancing and drinking Mando taffing drinks, mainly.
Why are there so many sons of our rainbows, and what's on the other side? Rainbows are visions, only illusions. And rainbows have nothing to hide.
If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more, please consider subscribing, smash that like button, and leave a comment telling me never to use the phrase smash that like button ever again. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you around. Maybe I won't. Go wishlist all the games that I put in this video on Steam, especially if they're by indie devs, because they're all great, and the people who make them are nice. You know, people make these things, and they're all lovely, and it's just really nice that they spend some time talking to people who've played their game. It's just, I can't get over how nice an atmosphere it is. It's a great show. I really enjoy it. It does smell a lot like sweat and energy drinks though. I really can't convey to you all just how much it smells like sweat and energy drinks. Thanks for watching.